Alors, on va prendre quelques questions de l'auditoire. J'en ai une ici de Richard Vigneault. As an international journalist, do you see a decline of democratic values on the ground caused by the rise of populism and authoritarian regime? And if so, where does it leave our democracies?
It's so interesting in our time that, we always talk, and, this is a lot of what Corim is all about, and what Pierre tries to facilitate the discussions about is what kind of world order do we live in? And it's been so noticeable since Joe Biden came to power, and perhaps not surprisingly so, with the rise of China, with the defiance of Russia, that the divisions in the world are often cast again in ideological terms. So that shortly after he came to power, President Biden was sworn in about a year ago. He announced he would have a summit of democracies, that this was not just, as we used to say, often in recent parlance, the battle of the strong men, the Bolsonaro of Brazil, Modi in India, Trump in the United States. But now it was a battle between the systems. And people were asking, and the Chinese were asking, the Americans were, the Russians were asking, who has the best system? The Chinese wanted to say, look, we had a better system to deal with the pandemic. Of course, now we're looking at that with new eyes, trying to have a zero COVID policy while the rest of us are trying to live with it. But it is a challenge for democracies now, because we've all watched, as Canadians, as neighbors to the United States, the growing polarization in the United States, the fact that a huge majority of Republicans, judging by the opinion polls, do not accept the results of the last election, do not accept that President Joe Biden was legitimately elected. Those are dangerous thoughts in a democracy. We hope, and most of all the Americans hope, that there won't be the kind of assault on the Capitol we saw on January the 6th last year. But we live in this paradoxical time, which also affects us as journalists, but also as policymakers and as citizens. This paradox that never have we had so much information in our hands, which should allow us to be much better citizens, to know more about our countries and more about the world and what binds us all. But in this time of greatest information, it is paradoxically a time of the greatest disinformation and manipulation and misunderstanding, misinformation. And people are using those same tools, which seem to be shining armor to develop democracies. We saw them in the Arab Spring, helping to young people to organize, to call peacefully for political change. Now these same weapons are being used by authoritarian regimes, by what are called illiberal democracies. It is such a crucial time for political systems worldwide, with different leaders basically saying to their citizens, we have the best system to respond to our citizens. And we all have to prove it. Democracies have to prove it.